Hi, welcome back to Echoes from the Quiet Corner. As long as I can remember, I have been fascinated by the way people behave. Not just the surface level smiles or reactions, but the deeper patterns. Why do some people always try to please everyone, even when it exhausts them? Why do others lash out or dominate every space they walk into? And why do some simply drift away, isolating themselves, even when they clearly crave connection? I saw these patterns in school, in workplaces, in friendships, even in myself. And I always wondered what's really going on underneath. Why do we keep repeating these emotional moves even when they hurt us? Have you ever felt like you're wearing a mask even when you're alone? Have you ever been the nicest person in the room and still gone home resentful? Or maybe you're the strong one, the achiever, the one who wins. But when the applause fades, you're exhausted. Or perhaps you are neither. You keep your distance. You disappear when things get messy. You say, I don't need anyone. But some nights, the silence is so loud, you can't sleep. What if I told you these aren't just personality quirks, they're strategies, and they're all responses to one hidden wound? It took me a long time to find answers, but then I discovered someone whose work completely changed how I see human nature. Her name, Karen Horney. She was a German psychoanalyst born in 1885 at a time when most psychologists were focused on complicated theories about childhood and desires. Karen Horney was quietly uncovering something much deeper and more human. The root of all our adult dysfunctions isn't lust or rage. It's something far simpler, something that begins in childhood. Basic anxiety, she called it. A basic, deep rooted fear of being unloved, unsafe, or unseen in a world that often feels overwhelming. This isn't always trauma in the obvious sense, it can be subtle, conditional love, inconsistent care, a childhood where safety had a price, and so we adapt. To survive this anxiety, Honey said, we choose one of three paths. The first one includes those who move toward people, the pleasers. These are the nice guys, the givers, the golden retrievers of the world. They think if I'm kind enough, selfless enough, agreeable enough, they won't leave me, they won't hurt me. They shapeshift. They become who others want them to be. But slowly, their true self fades. Eventually, kindness curdles into resentment because deep down they're not loved for who they are, only for the roles they perform. Have you ever smiled when you wanted to scream, stayed when you wanted to run? You might know this type intimately. The second one includes those who move against people, the fighters. These are the winners, the alphas, the bosses. Life is a battlefield and they plan to dominate. If I'm strong enough, no one can touch me. They build empires, they rise fast, but they can never let their guard down. They mistake fear for respect, power for safety. And at night, when the lights go out, they're still fighting ghosts. Have you ever chased success just to feel safe? This might be your mask. The third one includes those who move away from people, the withdrawers. They ghost, they disappear. They pour themselves into hobbies, books, work, distractions. If I don't need anyone, I can't be hurt. They don't explode, they don't beg, they just vanish. You think they're fine, but inside they ache with loneliness they have forgotten how to name. Have you ever numbed yourself just to keep feeling manageable? You're not cold, you're just scared, like all of us. We don't just run from others, we run from ourselves. We build an idealized self, the perfect daughter, the genius, the alpha, the flawless Instagram mom, the untouchable man. We compare ourselves to that fantasy and we always fall short. This cycle of self hate fuels our anxiety. The more we chase perfection, the more lost we feel. It's not a lack of success that breaks us, it's the invisible war we fight against who we think we should be. You can see Horney's wisdom everywhere today on dating apps where connection is replaced by strategy, in workplaces where the nice people burn out and the loud ones rise, on social media where everyone pretends to be okay but silently screams into the algorithm. We live in a world that rewards the mask but punishes the soul. And maybe that's why we are so tired, not physically but existentially. We are not just managing jobs and families, we are managing personas. And what do we do? What is our path to healing, right? Honey's advice wasn't some motivational fluff. It was radical honesty. Drop the fantasy self. Face who you really are. Is it that difficult? Admit your needs. Build real relationships, not transactional ones. Even if you can only have one or two of them, it's worth it. Not easy, but it's real. Maybe we start by noticing which mode we default to. Do I always say yes? Do I always fight? Do I always flee? And then ask ourselves, what am I so afraid will happen if I just show up as me? There is a story I once heard, simple, but it stayed with me. A little boy who used to wear different hats around different people. At school, he wore a red one, bright and loud. At home, a grey one, quiet and obedient. With friends, a yellow one, funny and carefree. One day, he forgot which hat to wear. And for a moment, he stood bareheaded. He looked around anxious. But to his surprise, someone smiled at him. Not at the hat, but at him. And from that day on, he wore no hats, just himself. So, the truth is that people always live in the illusion of being loved for what they are not. The opposite of anxiety is not calm, it's connection. Healing begins the moment we stop performing and start belonging. So, which mask do you wear? And who might you become if you didn't have to wear it anymore? This was Echoes from the Quiet Corner. Always remember that the journey to truth isn't loud. It begins with a quiet corner and a willingness to listen. Thank you for listening. Until next time, may your quiet corners be rich with echoes that know how to listen. Bye.